Hello, I am Murat Karslioglu. I am the founder and chairman of Buckle, a Silicon Valley startup. I have been in America for 23 years. I am a technology entrepreneur and investor. To date, we have created and sold 3 successful brands. Buckle is the 4th of these. Demet explained the importance of feelings, and Lena explained the importance of data. Both are very important. I realized that we were able to create a platform that brings these 2 values together. Now, I will talk a little about them. We came to you today not with words, but with solutions. Buckle is California's most well-known authentic grocery delivery startup. But I'm not here to advertise Buckle to you. Our topic is to create living brands. So today I'm going to tell you how you can't create a brand in America. As Demet mentioned, I believe that we can learn the real lessons from failures, not from successes. We have seen this with very good examples. At the end of these 15 minutes, I would like to share with you the method you are wondering about, how to be successful in America. The shortest way to fail in America is to continue doing everything that brands in Turkey have done so far in order to fail in America. We need to learn about America again. I want to explain why. We need to learn from Turkish brands that have spent millions of dollars in America and failed so far. I'm specifically talking about food brands. Of course, there are other Turkish brands that have been successful. First of all, the American market is not about getting into Amazon, Walmart, and Costco. We have seen that the biggest mistake you can make as a food producer is to open up to Amazon or Walmart, listening to the advice from young people in Turkey who sell their products on Amazon and earn pocket money. You cannot deliver your message to consumers on these platforms. You cannot create billion-dollar brands. Don't believe me on this, though. American food brands. Study the Amazon strategies and data of the brands here. Before entering into our Buckle investment, we conducted extensive market research with a research investment of over $700,000. Because we saw that I will talk a little about the data. Everything is data-driven for us. The data on the screen may not be fully readable, but according to the official data census, the population of immigrant minorities in America is expected to exceed 200 million in the year 2030, meaning they will be the majority consumers. In addition, food imports in America are expected to exceed $500 billion in the year 2030. 500, we are talking about $1 billion market. Among the leaders of this market, there are no brands known as world brands in Turkey. That's exactly why we founded Buckle. We are going through a very important period. This creates great advantages for us, including the economic crisis. Because we are starting from the same position as many leaders, which is also caused by this economic crisis. And I want to say support it. As in every startup, we believe and defend that our purpose is more important than the product. In this slide, I wanted to share the path we passed through with Buckle. But I'll summarize it for you. There are 3 big problems we solved here. We have quickly overcome these difficulties with Buckle in the last 3 years. We put ourselves in the shoes of producers and ourselves in the shoes of consumers. And we developed data-driven solutions. I want to underline, based on the data, we saw that this sector, which will reach $500 billion, is unregulated. Scientific data for the market that will reach $500 billion has not been created so far. What are we talking about as a market? It is defined as an ethnic grocery market, but I can explain it as a market where authentic products from abroad are sold. Then we saw that the famous brands and products that we know very well in Turkey are a tool to satisfy our longing beyond the product. This is where it's very important. It is much more valuable than its value in Turkey. A wrong target is chosen when selling. As manufacturers in Turkey, we make people forget that the aim is not to sell products, but rather to market lifestyle, culture, and expectations, which is perhaps one of the golden rules of marketing. We also joined this caravan, and finally we saw that the manufacturers were also condemned to the classic distributorship model. Well, let me explain this a little bit again. The strategies for entering the USA were that the company owner was given a distributorship because he was a distant relative of the company, so they could sell in America, and he was our uncle's son, and they were stuck here. Because once these distributors reach a certain number, I don't see the need to add any value to the brand. Manufacturers do not know what happens to their products after selling 2 containers of products. An environment has emerged where they cannot recognize their consumers. We cannot finish counting the problems here, whether it is the profits of the distributors, the price policies, the news from the consumer groups, or the situation of the shops where the products are sold. Well, I won't bore you with these. We had the chance to identify the obstacles facing brands in a flow. By analyzing the collected data, we identified the operating and cost challenges of the classic distributorship model and the B2B sales model, and began by scientifically identifying the challenges of entering the U.S. market. What did Buckle do about these problems? Buckle is not an e-commerce platform. We have established a data-based market preparation platform within Buckle, which includes services from video commerce to FDA procedures, from user testing to market preparation. We have created a platform that brings producers and consumers directly together by eliminating intermediaries and obstacles. This is really important. This trend spread very quickly in Asia. It is also in Turkey. Right now, not widely available in the USA. Before I came to America 20 years ago, I thought that America was ahead of the world in many trends. But believe me, America is behind many trends. Except for marketing, America does marketing very well. So we have a huge advantage. Here too, behind many trends, there is a trend we call e-commerce 3.0. Here we have video commerce, a new medium where consumers sell to consumers, and the size of this market is very, very large. What did the grocery store in America do? You also know the distances in America very well. It is very important to ensure the continuity of the products. In order for the American manufacturer not to lose the habit, we turn the small shops we work with, which we would call grocery stores in Turkey, into dark stores working for Buckle. Why is it important for grocery stores and manufacturers? First of all, we brought together the American consumers you want to reach. And that's where the data comes from, of course. We saw that, for example, selling high volumes to Iraq caused great damage to producers in Turkey. What does this mean? There has been a period in Turkey where people can sell their products without complying with any world standards. Now, maybe this continues with Syria as well. This situation will continue as long as wars continue. Even sending a product to America with the wrong packaging is not only a waste of 90 days' time, but also damages the brand. It harms brand awareness. Let's leave this aside. Turkey's biggest food brands are too lazy to even remove harmful substances from their products. This is a very sad situation, because these products are currently consumed in Turkey. That's why, after our work in the last 3 years, Buckle can now move much faster with small and medium-sized, flexible, and success-hungry brands. From where? Because let's give an example which is among the most well-known brands in Turkey and America. No one should take offense. But the brand A, B, or C, which we established with Olker 2 years ago, has no difference in terms of brand awareness. Because these big brands have never been able to reach American users and create brand awareness. To this you will say, why don't you give the example of Chobani? Chobani is an American brand, and no matter how proud we are, Chobani actually markets the product as a Greek yogurt, as can be seen on the product itself, because it is a brand that understands the needs of the American market very well and has solved the marketing ways to reach the consumers here very well. It is a very successful brand in America. Only 7% of Bakkal's users consist of Turkish users. According to the latest data, 300,000 Turks are living in America. It's not a very high number. Targeting only the Turkish minority as a brand is another mistake made by manufacturers. Because the market here is very big, but our groups and our ethnic minority here are not very big. Bakkal deliver it to other consumer groups, especially the American consumer with high purchasing power. As a technology company, we believe in data above all else. While manufacturers packaged and brought together the scientific step-by-step services required for successful market entry into America, of course, Bakkal had to go through this path because there was no data before us. Let me talk about them a little bit. We also brought products. We also made sales with well-known manufacturers here. We also made sales with distributors. We also sold to small shops. In fact, our aim here was to listen to everyone's concerns and identify the gap arising from lack of data. We have now reached this point. The most well-known ethnic grocery platform in America, California is Bakkal. By the way, I would like to talk about our services, but we will not have enough time. Our expertise is in translating local brands into brands and sales that the American consumer will understand. As Mr. Umut and Ms. Lena mentioned, Brainworks is our solution partner in Turkey. If you wish, you can contact us via Brainworks. Finally, let's summarize the key to success and how we can be successful. I saw other speakers in this talk talking about the same points. It was pleasing because we can be successful by abandoning the classical distributorship model and developing strategies based on science and data. The market is huge, and one of our biggest advantages is the economic crisis we are actually going through right now. We can turn this to our advantage. I was here during the 2008 crisis. If you look at the biggest brands we know today, let me give you technology examples. From Instagram to WhatsApp, from Airbnb to Uber, they are all foundations laid during the 2008 crisis. We are currently going through such a period. We believe that with this platform and the knowledge and data acquired, we can expand Turkey's exports and food exports to other areas in the future. But increasing food exports by $100 million is not a big dream. America is a huge market, but it is impossible for us to compete if we do not leverage the value added by data. We have invested over $4 million in infrastructure to analyze these problems. And more importantly, you can gain 3 years of experience from us without making this investment, and more importantly, without wasting this 3-year period. You can reach me through the email address you see on the screen. You can follow Bakkal's activities on its social media accounts. Also, Bakkal is currently open to crowdfunding. This is crowdfunding in America. In this way, we actually ensure that our users become an integral part of Bakkal, beyond investment. Because creating a community is one of the most important things in creating a brand. You can also get information about what we do about Buckle here. If you would like to join our investor producer group, you can visit issuanceexpress.com/backle. Well, that's all I have to share. Thank you very much, everyone.